All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another edition of Ask Me Anything with the Wolves of Alt Street. I am your host, Nexus, and today we are talking with Trapeza Protocol, an ohm fork that seeks to become a decentralized reserve currency. We are joined by Novo and Vicespring, who are representatives of Team Trapeza. Before we open the floor, I just, as always, have to give a bit of a preamble. Everything, and I mean everything that you guys are about to hear on this program is opinion material and is presented for your information only. This is not financial advice. Everything that everyone is going to be saying from me to the team will represent the opinions of the speakers only and not necessarily the opinions of the entirety of the Wolves of Alt Street or the entirety of Team Trapeza. And with that said, welcome guys. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Hi guys, my name is Novo and I'm from Trapeza Protocol and I'm doing marketing and I'm also the community manager. So you'll be seeing a lot of me in our Discord, Trapeza Protocol, which the official links can be found in the announcements as well as the soon to be created promotion channel. And I'll be doing the best to answer the questions that you give us through text with Henge, who is also one of our marketing leads and business materials, which she will be answering your questions. And we've also prepared a couple of guides for you, including our previous AMAs that we've done. And Sergeant 13B will giving that out as well. Thank you guys, and it's great to be here.
Hi all, my name is Vicespring from Trapeza. Nice to meet you all. I think every introduction has been done by Novo.
No problem.
Questions from you guys.
No problem. First, to open us up, I always want to break some ice and ask you guys, sort of on a lighter level, to tell us anything about yourselves that you would like us as a community to know to get to know you and your team.
Yeah, sure. Basically, we are a team of 8 team members based in US and Asia. We've been working in both crypto and non-crypto business for more than 5 years. That means that we have faced it ups and downs. So we believe that we are very much solid enough to endure any kind of difficulties that we might occur in the future. 5, mainly working in tech side, and 3, working in business side. We have done the KYC at the day when we started. Right now, we are building up our protocol in order to become the genuine reserve currency.
Okay. Anything you want to tell us about yourself, Novo? It's okay if not. I can get right into it if you prefer.
I prefer just answering the questions for now, but I do thank you for asking me first.
Sure, no problem. I always do that. It is my way. All right, so you guys said the team has KYC. That means the entire team is not completely anonymous, correct?
Yeah, correct. Basically, we have done KYC. One of our team member lead from logdoc.io.
Okay. To dive right in, what does your literature mean when you say Trapeza Protocol is, quote, a decentralized reserve currency, or that you're trying to make it a decentralized reserve currency? What do we mean when we say that?
So basically, we are aiming to be a reserve currency, which maybe most of you know, saying that we are becoming a currency that are not pegged by dollars or cryptocurrencies, rather pegged up by a cryptocurrency. We believe that Olympus DAO has come up with a very great idea of building a reserve currency. However, we think that there are more things that we can do when it comes to actually utilize the currency in the crypto field. And the reason that we're focusing on decentralized is that most of the own forks, including Olympus DAO, tend to stick onto specific mainnets. For example, Wonderland Time, they work on very few mainnets. But we are trying to become a currency that can be actually used in diverse multi-chains. So that's why we are focusing on decentralized reserve currency.
Okay. So you're targeting essentially a new kind of crypto that is itself backed by other cryptos. Do I have that right?
Correct.
Okay. A lot of users will be familiar with NFTs in a way, or governance tokens in another way, but what I'm hearing from Trapeza's literature is that you guys will have essentially NFT governance tokens. What can you tell us about the governance system for Trapeza and how that's going to work?
Sure. So I think the main concept, the governance token, has been raised by Olympus DAO, and which we 100% totally believe in. And also, NFT used to be a totally different concept. Like making assets in digital assets into NFT has nothing to do with previously. Has nothing to do with the governance token. However, what we are trying to do is we are trying to utilize our currency by embedding in NFT, which we call 3,3 NFT, and with that we are trying to work with those 3,3 NFT as a governance token. So that's what we are mainly thinking of.
Okay, because a DAO like Maha or even a centralized exchange like Nexo have their own governance tokens that essentially represent a user's stake in the platform. Now, these governance tokens obviously can be bought, sold, traded, etc. on the open market. But non-fungible tokens are supposed to be unique and one of a kind. And so I guess what my question is, how does each unique governance NFT contribute to the governance of the DAO? How does that work? Can you tell us about it?
Can you clarify your question in other direction? Because I'm trying to, maybe I'm confusing the what the question is.
Sure. I'll give you an example. If I want to invest in the governance of Nexo, which is a crypto savings and loan platform, all I have to do is buy Nexo tokens. Now, Nexo tokens are themselves a volatile asset. They will go up in value, they will go down in value. However, Nexo tokens are not themselves unique. A non-fungible token is supposed to be perfectly unique, like non-reproducible. How is a governance NFT supposed to work? How am I supposed to value my NFT if it's completely unique and it's utilized as a key political part of the governance for the decentralized autonomous organization?
Yeah, I think I got your what you're saying. First of all, English is not my native language, so
Understood.
maybe I would have some difficulties actually explain my thoughts fully in English, but we'll try my best.
No worries.
So
I appreciate you taking the time to try to parse what I'm asking. I realize I and some of the users may be asking nuanced and complicated questions.
Sure. So what we are trying to say is we are not saying that our NFT, so 3,3 NFT that we are saying is a very unique NFT as our token embedded. So that means that 3,3 NFT that we are saying is one of unique.
We seem to be having some slight connection issues.
However, okay, is this better?
Yes, I seem to hear you better now. I apologize.
Sure. Yeah, so let me repeat this. So 3,3 NFT that what we are saying is it is also a very unique NFT that can be found in the market, and
Gotcha.
and the token that we are going to embed, which is the currency token plus the governance token, is also has the same characteristics of the governance token itself, and that's not mean to say the governance NFT that we are making is not unique, and also having more governance token embedded NFT, which can be actually calculated in a quantitative way, and that can be also used as a voting power in our protocol. So it's mainly we are making a currency that has a governance token characteristics, and that's and we are using that token to embed in an NFT, which makes the NFT unique plus and embedding the utility of our currency.
Okay. I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying that the 3/3 NFT is going to have the tokens embedded within it, and that will help
Correct.
to ensure its utility.
Correct.
Okay. I think I'm tracking so far. Alright, moving to my next question. You guys chose a stealth launch and want to be 100% community owned, which causes me to want to ask you, do you have any policies or procedures that will protect or prevent the token or the governance of the DAO from being dominated by whales?
Yeah, that's the questions. That's kind of the thoughts that we had. We started when we started. In order to do that, we are trying to use So we started using the snapshot voting system in order to actually decide what we have to do and what we are going to do in the community. So we are carefully coming up with the options through the voting system that in the initial stage, many of initiatives can be actually led by the team. So direct answer to your question is yes, we have a protection system using the voting snapshot options that are mainly can be led by the team. So we are not. So for example, there was one of Olympus Ohm Fork project that has actually been misled by a whale and had to close their project. We are trying to avoid that by putting in the voting options that can be 100% controlled by the team in the initial stage.
Okay. Interesting. So there will be essentially a policy of the DAO that will prevent whale domination.
Of course, Right now, at this stage, only 5-6 weeks from the launch, we don't have a strict policy that can be actually run by a DAO. So that's why we are carefully putting up the voting options that cannot be manipulated by by the whales.
Okay. All right.
And in addition, we prefer. I mean, every strategy has pros and cons, and we prefer a fair and stealth launch compared to like waitlist led genesis phase of the project, which can have a lot of dumps, price dumps.
Yes.
So yeah, and and like intrinsic in by having fair and stealth lunch, we do have some cons. For example, that what you said, and I think we are trying to like manage the problems that can be that can occur by carefully using the voting option.
You're right. It's absolutely possible that whales could come in to dominate, and I don't mean to imply it's likely, just merely possible. That's why I ask the question. Next question. Trapeza, as we've mentioned, is an ohm fork. We've seen a lot of ohm fork staking and rebase projects come and go as fast as they arrived. What gives you guys confidence in Trapeza's long-term sustainability?
Sure. That's also a good question. First, in order to become a sustainable team, we should have a business model that can actually run the team. As I mentioned before, we are a team of 8 team members. Worked in it more than 5 years. First, so I want to point out that we have a business model that can actually rely on. So how long it might take, that we cannot actually make money from the Trapeza project. We can actually survive. Second point, as our project was very fairly launched, there are many projects that tend to be launched fairly, but in actual they are not. But so we are confident that there won't be any kind of whale dumps that can actually hurt project's token system, such as price. So that's the second point that we believe we are going to be sustainable. Third, we really genuinely think that we have a very solid vision in this ohm fork scene. We are trying to focus on actually utilizing the currency that we make, 3,3 NFT, marketplace, launchpad, and also we are diversifying our token that can be used in multiple mainnets, uses of treasury. We have shared our ideas very deeply, solidly in lots of articles in Medium. So combining these 3 points, we do think that we can actually have a sustainable long-term project.
Okay. How secure is the Trapeza Protocol at this point in time from being rugged, either by an exterior actor using malicious intent and materials to reach inside, or by an interior member of the team?
I think I can answer this question by empathizing first. internal team members. We know each other. We have known each other for a long time, and we know who's doing what kind of things. Even those kind of accident happens, we are able to find out the actual person who have done that, whether it's a financial or technical issue. Second, exterior. What we think is the very key to this Own4 project is all about managing the treasury assets that this Own4 owns. We this right now, it's our treasure assets is taken care of by 7 different private keys in multi-sig way, and as those kind of key like password is actually not written on the digital side.
Smart.
So in those internally, externally, we did think it's a very secure, safe project.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry, lost my question. There we go. Okay. Let's talk now about the FIDL or FIDL token infrastructure. And to keep it easy, we'll try to gloss over it as simply as we can. Let's assume that for the sake of argument, the audience knows how to run a crypto wallet and trade coins, but is not necessarily highly technically inclined. What can you explain to us about the FIDL token infrastructure?
What do you mean by infrastructure?
Oh, how do the tokenomics work for getting rewards? Where essentially, walk me, assuming that I am a new user, say I don't know anything but how to trade coins, buy and sell my coins in my wallet. Explain to me the pipeline for acquiring FIDL tokens and what benefits I'm going to get by acquiring them.
Sure. We'll explain 2 different angles. First angle, just the crypto side. You go into a pancake swap. At this time, it's one of the largest X on BSC, BNB chain. Find out, and if you definitely at least have one of stable coins, BUSD or USDC, having a stable coin go into decentralized exchange, pancake swap, and you can actually buy a FIDL on the DEX at this time point. This FIDL will be able to purchase on different swaps on BSC and also different mainnets. For example, like Ether or like Avalanche, other mainnets, DEX also in very near future. If I walk through to in different angle, for example, NFT, imagine a month from now on, you will be able to actually buy NFT that has FIDL for more exact, for more concretely like gFIDL embedded in it. That can be actually have a value of FIDL embedded. So that can be another way that you can actually meet or buy a FIDL token. And by having a FIDL token, that does not mean that you will have rewards that we give in APY term. You should stake the FIDL token into sFIDL. sFIDL is one of stake token that is used in Olympus DAO, or Own4's projects. However, from like 3 to 4 weeks ago, Olympus DAO came out with the idea of gORM instead of SORM. So our project actually migrated S token FIDL into gFIDL 2 weeks ago. So if you convert FIDL that you bought on PancakeSwap to gFIDL, you will be able to get actually rewards based on the certain APYs the time that you bought.
Okay, so like Wonderland, like Jade Protocol, you will acquire the FIDL, and when you stake it, it becomes S-FIDL.
gFIDL at this point.
Oh, gFIDL. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to understand. Okay. Trapeza's documents state, quote, and I'm going to read from your documents here. Trapeza Protocol also introduces unique economic and game theoretic dynamics into the market through staking and bonding. We've heard that from Jade. We've also heard that from Wonderland, which reached over 2 Ethereum in value before dropping substantially over the past 2 months. Can you explain to me what makes Trapeza more intrinsically valuable than, say, Wonderland?
Let me compare with Jade, you mentioned.
Yes. Perfectly fine comparison.
I have personally no offense in Jade project, but I think the essential point of own fork project, currency project, is that you should focus on the treasury that you have. Treasury that actually backing the project's token is very, very essential, and it's very important. So that's why a lot of projects actually try to invest their treasuries in multiple ways. And however, previously a lot of projects have actually manipulated their treasury, and I think one of good example is a Jade. I was very shocked when they actually uploaded a new vote saying that 50% of treasury goes to the team, and like 85% of their treasury actually using in very high risk. Although that means that does not means like 100% means high return, but kind of like VCs in cryptos. What we can be deferred is that we are running our treasury we'll run a treasury in a way that can actually support our assets, our token. So that can be one of the difference point that we think can be differentiation factor. Also, that's the treasury side, and like utility side, we think that we are able to increase our tokens intrinsic value by having more utility, giving more utility to our token. That being said, is we are trying to actually link our token with the NFT, which is one of the fastest growing market in this blockchain scene, and giving the utility in the token, we think that we are able to actually increase the intrinsic value.
Okay. I asked that question because I myself am interested in the tokenomics you guys are going for, that you are claiming to create a wealth creation tool and a medium of exchange currency, which creating both at the same time, that's a lofty goal. And you've used the language on your literature suggesting that the FIDL token, or FIDL, you would like to see that become a global unit of account. And I find that interesting because at this point in the world cycle of cryptocurrency, it, to me, still feels difficult to get businesses to accept Bitcoin or Ethereum, let alone the myriad, huge number of tokens that exist on Binance. How do you guys plan to spread enough adoption of the FIDL token to create both a base of customers who want to use it, as well as businesses who would like to accept it as a medium of exchange?
We'll focus on one of the largest so we'll focus on NFT market in order to expand our token utility. What we trying to become is, for NFT creators, we want to be the first choice of option that the NFT creators wish to embed tokens in their NFT. We are focusing on the NFT because we think first, NFT market is growing exponentially. Second, however, there are intrinsic drawbacks of NFT that are actually that are working these days. First of the drawbacks that we want to point out is that an NFT built on Ether can be read on the Ether and be staying in the Ether. However, embedding our token gFIDL, we are thinking of making that NFT and be found on Clayton and Ether by expanding gFIDL adoption in different mainnets, in multiple mainnets. Second, the drawbacks that we think the NFTs at this stage have is that NFTs don't have a value until they get traded. But we want to put in the value of our token into the NFT so that NFT can actually have intrinsic value before it gets traded. So that's kind of our strategy in order to expand our token in this blockchain scene, focusing on the NFT market at this time. So we are trying to expand our token in the much more business side, and by spreading out NFTs, having gFIDLs in different NFT marketplaces, we will try to increase our token presence to the individuals.
Okay. I realize that was a complicated question, and there are more complicated questions to come. That concludes my initial question docket, and I shall now be turning straight to questions from the community at this time. Our first set of questions comes from Zek. Hello, welcome to Wolves of Wall Street, Novo, and Vicepring. They would like to thank you and Lovely House Nexus for making this AMA possible, and of course everyone who tuned in. Getting right into it. Question 1. DAOs have a bad reputation for always dying out, whether it be from a slow rug, a fast rug, or a simple quick one. Developers will often abandon projects and run off with pockets full of cash. What makes Trapeza outstanding and different from all these others? What steps and procedures have been taken to ensure that investors and minters know that Trapeza is here to stay?
First of all, frankly speaking, our treasury is not that large for a rug pull. But we are trying to grow our projects, and by doing that, we think that we can increase our treasury value. Second, one of our team lead actually have shown their individual personal ID, things like that, to Rock Dog, and we are trying to increase the numbers of KYC completed team members with different KYC providing companies. Third, I think this is one of the most important thing that we can that I can empathize. We are the team of that have worked more than 5 years very tightly. That means that we trust each other, and right now we are working on the vision that we have. We worked in the data field before coming into crypto. We do have several our team members have crypto backgrounds, and we are doing the thing that we are really want to do at this time point. So won't won't sacrifice our vision in the treasuries or kind of like money that we are able to make. Rather, we'll focus on the visions and dreams that we have in this blockchain scene.
Okay. Zach's next question: what usage does the NFT have for minters and investors? What do you expect it to bring forward in the coming months/years?
So the question is mainly about why NFT is useful, or
Yes, he's explicitly asking, if I mint an NFT, one of the governance NFTs, when it becomes available, what can I expect out of the NFT? What will it do for me?
So the NFT that we are saying, 3,3 NFT, is basically the same NFT that will maybe be that can be like image or like a video clip. Very one of the typical NFTs that can be found in OpenSea. Having the difference between the conventional NFT versus Trapeza made gFIDL embedded NFT, which we call 3,3 NFT. The difference is that as 3,3 NFT as gFIDL embedded, first it will be able to, that NFT can be used and like found on different mainnets that gFIDL by having gFIDL embedded. Second, that 3,3 NFT have intrinsic value, even though that has not been traded, can secure the intrinsic value. That's two key main points that we want to that we are empathizing at this time point. And like NFT itself will be the same NFT that can it's going to be a typical NFT. So I hope that's answered the question.
It sounds like it did to the best of your ability. I believe that the question would have been better answered if you could tell me, once I have the NFT in my wallet, what do I do? How do I get my extra value out of the NFT?
Because like NFT by itself, a typical NFT, the conventional NFTs that are found on OpenSea at this time point doesn't have an intrinsic value. Also, plus doesn't give you rewards by only having it, versus 3,3 NFT that we are going to come out with and actually have a staking function embedded. That means that we'll have additional rewards, and also by having it itself, we'll have intrinsic value embedded. So I think that's one of the other, just by having it, that can actually make additional value.
Okay. Master Halo 40 asks, I would like to know how the DAO-governed system is used with the token of the project. What advantages and special benefits will the governed system for Trapeza have over its competition? Wolfies are hard.
Yeah, and I think, like frankly speaking, that's DAO what differs Trapeza DAO from other DAOs, or at least kind of systems that we have. I have to answer very frankly, saying that honestly, it has not been developed at this time point. I think it's one of the good topic that our team have to focus on to come out with more differentiated thoughts on this a DAO kind of structure. So answering your questions, no, frankly speaking, at this time point.
Wow.
But we're working on it.
I appreciate your honesty on that. Master Halo 40 also asks, these last few weeks that the market has been going down, what methods would Trapeza use or your team using to continue to pay out people who would stake or farm their decentralized finance? He's to try to clarify the question. I believe he is asking, in a bear market condition where the market is going down, what strategies is Trapeza planning to help ensure that their investors will continue to benefit even though prices are dropping?
Sure. First, in order to because we are trying to become what the mostly widely used reserve currency, we have to focus on the long term. For example, Tether, like 3-4 years ago, their trading value was below one USD, and having some rumors and things like that. But what I'm trying to say is, because we have to focus on the long term, we won't do any kind of tactics that can only benefit in the short term. First, in order to ensure our investors or token holders to feel safe, whether they will be able to get the rewards, first we have to focus on what we are trying to do and what we have to do, business expansion, and we'll try to share the progress in order to actually build credential within this community. Second, we will focus on increasing the treasury return, focusing on seeking more opportunities in different mainnets and different multi-chains. By focusing on treasury revenue or increasing the treasury revenue, we believe that we are able to secure more higher APY in a much more longer term. Third, actually more tokens utilization means that the intrinsic value can actually go up, which will help believe or make trust to the investors about our token usage. So that's going to be the third way that we are able to ensure our investors that they can actually get the rewards in the long term.
Okay. Only Lone Wolf asks, why did you guys choose BSC as the first FIDL main net? Sure.
It's so the choosing the first mainnet was not very important. It was not the most important concerns that we had in the beginning, because we are trying to become a reserve currency on multiple mainnets, on multiple chains. So BSC is going to be only the beginning, but BSC, as you know, is one of trusted and one of the largest mainnet in different terms. So we chose BSC as the beginning, but we are trying to expand our mainnets, such as Near or Avalanche or like Clayton, in a very short term. So BSC was only the beginning, but like sideways or like proven examples, we thought the BSC was the first choice.
Okay. Only Lone Wolf has a challenging question coming up about your DeFi 2.0 model. They write, in the DeFi article, it is quoted as follows: DeFi 2.0 has a model based on backing rather than pegging by directly selling bonds. They receive them as stablecoins and use them as reserves. The key principles are as follows. The protocol accumulates a reserve that can guarantee at least one Binance US dollar for one FIDL. If one FIDL is less than one Binance US dollar, the protocol will buy back FIDL and burn it. If one FIDL is greater than one Binance US dollar, the protocol will mine and sell FIDL. Could you please explain the point or purpose of these tokenomics?
I think the question itself can be actually asked to all for projects, including Olympus DAO.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Yes. It's a backing concept rather than pegging, and actually Tether, that actually pegged by one USD. Their value there was some time that actually Tether value was under one USD in the beginning, but when you go back to the concept of backing, and backing not with BUSD but also with different stable coins or cryptos, for example, Olympus DAO, their token is at this time point are actually backed up by Ether, not only BUSD. So the concept of backing, our team believes is a promising concept. However, its own the backing reserve currency concept has only started last March, not a year, when Olympus DAO started their projects. So and because it's hard to actually come up with a strict value of one USD because different inflation rates in different fields, we think the backing concept is much more promising than the stablecoin concept. So the question itself is a very hard question that we can actually answer, not because it's that we are wrong, rather that it's a different concept. We believe the reserve currency concept will be the dominant concept in near future. In future, so we are focusing on the reserve currency concept, which means backing, and it's not going to be only backed up by BUSD. Rather, we are also thinking of backing up with Bitcoin or Ether or other kind of cryptocurrencies. So I hope my explanation could actually answer the question itself.
Well, after reading Lone Wolf quoting your DeFi model, I can't help but note that it reminds me of Terra Luna, with the buyback and burn mechanic to mint more FIDL. I guess I can't help but wonder, would you guys yourselves compare your project to Terra Luna, with the exception, of course, of you all being an ohm fork, where Terra's not an ohm fork?
But it's the concept of backing in own forks projects when the token becomes below $1 USD, like the projects actually can buy back and burn and guarantee that floor price. Terra Luna has also a similar concept, but as you know, Terra Luna is much more focused on the stablecoin concept.
Correct.
However, on Forks, it's a floor price concept.
Okay.
I get what you mean, and there are some similarities, but I think basically it's totally two different directions that are working with those kind of backing concepts.
Gotcha. Okay. Bouncing off of Lone Wolf and going to a question from Smoker Thou that's along the same lines. If you had to play devil's advocate towards your own invention here, what would you personally highlight as your biggest risk factor of Trapeza?
So that means the highest risk that we might face in the near future?
That you've personally, let's rephrase that slightly. We'll say, what do you feel like the biggest risk is that the project faces right now?
Definitely, it's going to be the value of treasury is much smaller than we need to be. That's the highest problems that we face. That does not mean that we are concerned of price drops. Obviously, our team, one of our team projects KPI is the token price. Our incentives are aligned with the price, with the FIDL concept that we shared in the initial stage, but rather the higher token price means the healthier treasury value that we can claim. Having a larger treasury value means that we are able to provide much more stable token that can be used in the NFT, and actually that can back up the the embedded model that we are thinking of. So highest risk or problems that we are facing is that we have to increase our treasury value at this time point. That's the main pain point that we have.
Okay. Smoker Thou also asks, what, in it sort of a flip side of the biggest risk, what do you think is the most attractive factor of Trapeza Protocol that would make any singular investor by themselves want to buy in?
The 3,3 NFT concept that we are going to show in next 1 or 2 weeks. I think that's the main attractive points that we have. A lot of projects that doing NFT are not thinking of actually embedding a token that can actually help solve the problems that the NFT has this time at these days. Also, the currency projects, reserve currency projects, mainly focused on treasury management, rather than coming out with utility, rather than increasing the utility of their token. Trapeza focuses on increasing the utility of the token in order to become a currency. And as we are targeting NFT market with very unique concept that we have, I think that's the most attractive points of our project.
Okay. Blur Rev asks, can you please go into a bit of detail about how bonding works with Trapeza? Are there going to be wrapped assets within the Trapeza protocol when it comes to bonding and reserve assets?
Correct. Yes, we are thinking of actually expanding the bonding option, not only with the stable coins, but with the other assets, wrapped assets, or also in other chains. Yes, we are trying to expand multiple bonding option.
Okay. Because I guess I should add to that, because the NFT isn't out yet and it's not done being developed, there's more to be done on that in the next week or two. Second question from Blur Rev. Since Trapeza has built-in rebasing, is there a gas fee associated on the protocol side for every staking payout that's automated to everyone's wallets? And if so, is there a certain amount of BNB or Binance US dollar set aside to cover those gas fees?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have so we don't take advantage of the gas fees. So we have no interest in that. Obviously, you do have to pay default gas fees that are needed for each transaction. We are not claiming that. Did I correctly answer the question, Alexis?
I guess partially. With some of these ohm fork rebase protocols, each time, every few hours, every day, however often the rebase or essentially the interest payment comes in and starts to compound, occasionally these protocols have been known to for lack of a better term, to shovel the gas fee onto the investor rather than find a way to cover the gas fee themselves.
I see. I'm not 100% sure with what the fact is in our project. We'll get back to our team and we'll get the right answer.
Okay.
After this AMA with like some documents or like other materials. We'll memo this question.
Yeah, no problem. We appreciate you guys taking feedback back to your team. Harsha Prabhath asks, why is the team totally anonymous? How can we be sure that you will not do a scam? And I believe, to answer your last part of this question, Harsha, there are some plans to reveal their team's identities in the future, but they are not doing so immediately.
Yeah, we are an anonymous team this time point, but if we have a certain reason or maybe advantage of actually coming out, we do think that that can be a way to differentiate our project. So we just started as an anonymous team, as other DeFi projects teams to do, but we have completed a basic KYC for credential. But if needed, yeah, we are welcome with. We are also considering actually putting our names and like photos on the website if needed.
Okay. Clutch asks, one of the most important parts of a project's success is community support. Is there anything specific that Team Trapeza plans to do to extend the community? They add, as a sort of side question of that, how can users engage in your ecosystem?
Sure. As we started, fair launch, we didn't do any resale, private sale, whitelist. We are not able to have a solid community at the beginning. And I do think this is a disadvantage of starting a project in a stealth way. But we are at the stage of building our community, Discord, Telegram, mainly in Discord, and also several communities in using local SNS in different countries. However, we think that we can actually expand our community base when we show our first NFT, second NFT projects, so on. We will be able to actually show what differs us from other own force projects by showing the NFT, and by doing that, we think that can be another inflection point that we can grow our community.
Okay. For all users and our guests, I'd like to let everyone know we have reached the hour point, and I just want to let everybody know, as always, these are just opinions. This is not financial advice. We're talking to Team Trapeza, talking about their new Ohm Fork project with some NFTs that will be mintable in the coming weeks. There's still a lot of community questions to get through. Are you guys able to hang around and continue answering some questions?
Sure, Nexus. Actually, we would like to answer all the questions, and I know that the time won't let us to do at this time point, but if you can summarize, if you can, if we may, we'll try to come up with the answers with basically all the questions that we have. Maybe
no problem. How much longer can I take you guys away for? How much longer can I get you guys to answer user questions?
For now, I mean, we don't have any time restrictions, so please let me know. But
no problem.
What I'm trying to do was we'll get back to you later, like tomorrow or a day or so, answering all the questions that you have with with some documents, and we'll be happy to share ask you to share those documents to your community.
Certainly, not a problem. All right, good deal. Moving right along. Let me see. Aha. USMB2 asks, with what assets and the gFIDL token, with what assets will the NFTs and the gFIDL token be backed with at current moment?
So the backed asset that we are backing our token, is that the question?
Yes. With what assets are both the NFT and the governance token backed by?
At this time point, USD and USDC, and also the initial LP that we made, FIDL, BUSD LP. That three assets are right now backing up our token ecosystem.
Okay. USMB2 also asks, are you going to plan to target big crypto NFT markets of South Asian countries like Pakistan and India?
Yes. However, first we'll focus on the top tier NFT marketplaces in our initial stage with our NFT business. But we will also try to expand our NFT supply channels in different countries with different marketplaces based on the strategy that we have.
Okay. Is the project going to be completely decentralized?
I like this question because since we have entered this blockchain scene, our team always discussed about centralized versus decentralized. At this time, we are focusing on. We have to admit that we do have centralized characteristics. For example, most of initiatives or agendas are raised by the team and executed by the team. And we believe in the initial stage, those kind of centralized agenda raisement or working process is essential to make the work done. But we are, as we are not, as we are a blockchain project, we believe that decentralized, which means diversification and expansion, is essential in our project also. So we are focused on expanding our project's token or like treasury in multiple chains in order to exploit the opportunities in different fields. So in that way, we are focusing on decentralized concept, but in the initial stage, our team itself are driving the projects. So that in that way, we can say that there are also centralized characteristics of the project.
Okay, so for the moment, you have a centralized decision-making team that is guiding the direction of the project, but in the long term, you seek to decentralize. Do I have that correct?
Right.
Okay. The final part of USMB2's question is, since you guys are going to decentralize, how do you plan to make the platform private and at the same time user-friendly to make sure that people are protected from rogue states, as in nation states?
I'm not understanding the question. So
Let me present you another hypothetical scenario. Let us say that the Trapeza Protocol goes from where it is now in a centralized place. You go to that much more decentralized way of operating. How will the platform be both user-friendly, as in easy to use for a regular person, and at the same time safe and secure from a government getting people's information that they may not necessarily want that government to have?
I think regarding this, as the previous question, we need some feedbacks from my tech teams that are not present at this time point.
Gotcha.
We'll get back to this question later
Okay.
with the document.
Okay. Tolatli asks, how many proposals have been suggested to Trapeza Finance? And of user proposals, have you taken any into action so far?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Has Trapeza Finance taken user proposals? And if they have you put any of those proposals into action?
Yes, we are getting proposals and we are getting requests from the community through Discord channel. However, we did not actually put that vote at this time point, but we are carefully looking at the request and questions or proposals that community raise, and we do think that's very important. But yes, there are channels that that community can raise the proposal, but not yet. None of the previously proposed proposals have been actually been voted.
Okay. Luca SP asks, describe your project in 5 words.
It's like, let's say 5 words. Mostly widely used reserve currency.
Okay.
Word.
Most widely used reserve currency. That's a heck of a goal. I gotta applaud that goal. What do you feel is the biggest competitor to your project? Would it be like Wonderland or Jade or something like that?
It's hope this not let's get to you as a cliche, but we don't think there's a competitor at this time point because this market itself is very new. Although there are hundreds of home forks, they have different directions and visions. Rather, we think there are a lot of players that actually increasing this market to crypto investors, saying that this reserve currency concept is meaningful, promising. There are hundreds of teams are saying that. So not a competitor, I think, rather like market builders. I think I would say there are hundreds of market builders, including us, trying to say out loud to crypto interest people, saying that it's a new concept and promising.
Okay. I've got a couple questions from several different users asking about the name and the story behind the name. I believe Novo covered that in the chat, so I just wanted to put that out for the users. The story of the Trapeza Protocol's name is a story, and they do have it. They'd be happy to share that with you. Okay, moving on. Kuruk the Friendly Wolf asks, many ohm forks like Jade, Time, and Klima have been degenerative and slowly collapsed over time because their return rates are long-term unsustainable. How is Trapeza going to ensure that their returns are sustainable, given that so many others in the same space have failed?
Sure. With this question, I think Novo can help me to to post the Medium article about Treasury. I think number is like 008. So answering the question, I think it's able. Our team believes that we are able to actually sustain higher APY in the longer term by managing Treasury. Also, Olympus DAO, which have like 11 months history. Most of their treasury is important because that's the key for higher APY. But Olympus DAO mainly depending on the bonding low APY, but so they was not able to sustain a higher APY in the longer term. And we have done several simulations on the article that I mentioned, and Novo is going to post. In that article, we have shown that with different strategies, investment options, and not only the bonding options, but investment options, and also, even though it's a bonding option on a different chains, we can actually extend higher APY in a longer term. So we will be focusing on the treasury management in order to provide higher APY in a longer term. And we think that's also very going to be differentiation factor of the project. And that's why we have done several simulations and shared our thoughts on the Medium.
Okay. Dear God of Disguise writes, your document says Trapeza's concept is going to disrupt the disadvantages of NFTs. What do you think are the disadvantages of NFTs, and how do you plan to solve them?
Yes, I think we mentioned before, but in short, 3,3 NFT that we are saying is NFT with gFIDL embedded. The disadvantage that we think that this NFT has is first, restricted to the certain mainnets that NFT has been built is the first problems that we think. Second, having no intrinsic value of NFT before they can get trade is the second problems that we think. In order to solve these two problems, by embedding gFIDL, the token that we made, the users will be able to see the NFT on multiple chains and also able to find out the intrinsic value of the NFT at a certain time point. So that's the new concept that we raised.
Okay. Let me see here. All right, so Dear God has a follow-up on the idea of the gFIDL being a reserve currency and backed with BUZZDA. So the backing of the gFIDL ideally is going to give it some of the value. But if possible, I would like you to explore for this user and others who asked a little bit more about the 3.3 NFT and how it has intrinsic value other than the gFIDL tokens backing the 3.3 NFT.
If I got question understanding correctly, so NFT will be embedded with gFIDL certain amount, and gFIDL itself has a value. So that's why
that same I get that same backing is going to be part of what gives the NFT its value. But what I'm really wondering is, besides the backed tokens, besides the backing tokens that are used as a reserve currency, what does the NFT do?
I mean, that's kind of the like natural. That's kind of like typical NFT. I mean, conventional NFT do multiple things that can be like kind of a batch, or can be used as a membership, or kind of can be considered as assets that needs investment. So NFT itself, has a different. Yeah.
I was just going to say I'm familiar. I believe me and many of the users are familiar with those particular uses for NFT. But what we're wondering about is yours. What makes this one special?
Okay, so our project will be making NFTs, but that does not mean that we have like unique NFT concept. Rather, we are going to be providing some examples of what NFT what gFIDL can do that can actually backing up the NFT. So we'll be sharing we have shared our first NFT in an image to our community. It's going to be mainly kind of like membership NFTs. The unique point is not what kind of NFT would be, rather the NFT itself that gFIDL is going to be embedded.
Okay. Wolf Me asks, why is your NFT project going to be using Sol Network? Now, this could be a loaded question. I don't know if this is a loaded question. I don't begrudge any users a loaded question, but there are a lot of reasons why somebody might ask about Solana Network nowadays.
Our project is not confined to Solana. I'm not quite sure whether this question is coming from.
Me either, sir. I just read the questions as written and do the
Sure,
best
sure,
I
sure.
can to try to interpret what they're looking for.
Sure,
So,
sure.
if Wolf, if you want to clarify to us why you're asking about Solana or what aspects of Solana's network you were wondering about, in the meantime, I'll move on. Gilang Desu asks, most projects are now abandoned in the middle of operations due to lack of sustainability, which we've mentioned that several times with regards to rebase protocols and ohm forks throughout this AMA. But this question is somewhat different than the others because Gilang Desu asks, how will Trapeza deal with market fluctuations? Say the price of your backing coin, but this reserve currency token that you all are building, say the price of that goes rapidly through the floor or rapidly through the roof. How are the investors and the team supposed to handle that scenario?
If the price goes up, potentially, there won't be anything that we can do. If it goes down and if it goes below the floor price, we'll try to do what own folks have to do, backing up $1 for per FIDL. And other than that, we won't try to get involved in the like kind of price protection in radical ways or in unconventional ways that has not been shared previously to the community. But so won't do anything that has not been shared before, but rather we'll focus on developing our business.
Gotcha. Do you guys have any strategic partnerships or specific marketing strategies to increase the validity and visibility, I would add, of the brand, of Trapeza Protocol itself?
I think the 3,3 NFT initiation would be the first time that we can actually share our partnership. Will be released soon, so I mean, please stay tuned. We will try to work with renowned NFT projects and that will have gFIDL embedded in it.
Okay. Next user Zulu asks, your site talks about pure strategy Nash equilibrium 3-3 staking, but it's not always true that in the real world the numbers follow. For example, if there is no traffic police, then people would have to follow all traffic lights, otherwise it may lead to accidents. But in the real world, the police exist, and we battle an asymmetric game. Moreover, the Nash equilibrium compels one to only stake to earn better rewards. So I think the concept is in itself stripping off power from the users, since only staking is the only profitable option.
It's a good question, and I like that example. So the issue raised by the question, yes, I admit that, and I also think that's also true. But what we will be focusing on is the 3-3 concept is mainly the it's like fundamental belief of the reserve currency, and even though that does not work in some cases, we believe that that can be worked in most cases. So we'll focus on the business, and we'll try to build up more key strategy to become a reserve currency that can be mostly widely used, and we'll focus on that. And by doing that, we believe that we will be able to encourage community and investors and holders to stick on to 3-3 concept of the reserve currency.
Okay. Zulu's final question. There are already very prestigious firms in the market that are aiming to do the same or similar thing as Trapeza. For example, Maha DAO with their Arth token and Terra Luna, which we already mentioned. What do you think makes Trapeza better than Terra Luna or Maha?
To be very specific, Terra Luna, it's a stable coin rather than we are reserve currency, and other forks that the questionnaire mentioned. We will be focusing on adapting reserve currency concept into NFT, and we'll be actually showing the first token embedded NFT in a very short term, and that's we think can be a differentiation factor.
Okay. Interesting. Next question from user Marvin. So, can we say that Trapeza is, quote, the stablecoin killer?
Wish to be in a future. There are many more reserve currencies that they believe will be replacing the stablecoin in the future, and we wish to be one of that.
Gotcha. Do you guys have any current staking APY numbers for the FIDL token that you can present to us? And
Sure. 1 million, around 1 million plus minus at this time point.
oh baby, 6-figure numbers. That's intense. How do you see it increasing in the future, or do you see it increasing?
I think I have answered previous questions. Yes, we will be able to increase APY if we run our treasury in a more sophisticated way, and we will be doing that. And also, we have done several simulations and shared the Medium article, which Novo shared on. We were not able to increase the APY, but we are trying to do, and we have the strategy.
Okay. And with that, we're reaching the end of the set of user questions. Our final pair of user questions will come from Broken Blue Goldfish Sammy. He decides to get artistically critical with his first question, and he writes, "To be honest, I didn't really like the way your NFTs look. They are weird and not that different from hundreds of NFT projects on the market. How do you plan on surviving with such NFTs?"
Yes, correct. I totally understand what he's saying, and I also admit that we are not trying to differentiate like NFTs in like artistic term. Rather, we wanted to focus on gFIDL embedded concept 3,3 NFT. First NFT we made will be just an example. So from the second, third NFTs that we are going to show will be working with much more artistic designers and NFT creators.
Okay.
I like the question, and I also admit that when I first saw it, I really didn't like either. But we didn't want to actually differentiate with the design itself.
Gotcha. His final 2 questions. Are you planning to launch your token on TipCC on Discord?
I haven't thought about it, but we'll consider that. Have a discussion with the team.
Okay. And the last question from Sammy, and honestly one of my favorite questions. I love asking this one myself, but I forgot to. How did you guys hear and get to know about the intelligent Wolves of Alt Street community, to quote Sammy directly?
Frankly speaking, I was not the one who chose this MA. Rather, Novo and Henge did. My understanding is that it done extensive research, and also I participate in multiple AMAs before, but I think it was one of the most active community that I met when it comes to AMA, and I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. That concludes the user question portion of the show. With that, we're at the home stretch, and I would like to invite you guys, as members of Team Trapeza, to take a peek at the pinned messages in the text chat channel. And I would ask both of you, or Henge as well, if they would like to weigh in, to help us decide which of these users will receive the best question rewards for the show today.
Maybe can we get back to selecting the questions a bit later? Maybe
Certainly.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
No problem. We do not at all have to do that right now. Since that's the case, we'll get back to the community very, very soon.
Sure.
To those users who feel like your questions were not fully explained or answered, obviously there were some discourse and English as a second language difficulties that occurred during the portion of this show. That is understandable and fine. I come emotionally prepared to translate and simplify my language as much as I possibly can to remove all communications barriers that I possibly can. And with that said, for now, thank you everyone for joining us for this show. My name has been Nexus. I have been your host for today. We were joined by Novo, Vispring, and Henge for an Ask Me Anything session where we dug in deep into Trapeza Protocol, the FIDL token, and the 3.3 NFT that they are planning to release in the coming days. I'd like to thank all of my teammates for helping me set this up. I'd like to thank everyone who joined us. And as always, we cannot do this without the community. This show means absolutely nothing without people coming to listen to us. So with that,
Thank you, Nexus.
Absolutely. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you all for joining us. And we will be getting the recording of this AMA up before the end of the day. And the team will be continuing to answer your questions as they can.
Hey guys, this is Novo here from Trapeza Protocol, and I'd like to thank Nexus and everyone who participated in today's AMA, and we'll also be going through all of the questions to see who we felt like gave us the best question as well, and we'll be giving 2 of our rarest NFTs, which is the Solon one. And I'd like to thank Nexus a ton for preparing this as well. And thank you guys.
Absolutely. We'll be getting those rewards out to you guys presumably before the end of the day, but it does take us some time to deliberate and figure that out.